You're not going to believe what my friend Craig Hevner and his dad, 93-year-old dad, had been making out of logs like this chestnut log for, I don't know, over 45 years, I'm guessing, but Craig could tell you better than that. Furthermore, you're going to be amazed with what they do with what they make out of these logs. But before I show you that in the video later on, you got to cut these logs into 2-inch thick boards so Craig has something to work with. So stay tuned for that. Craig brought me about a half a dozen, well, maybe 10 of these logs. They're not very long. They just fit across the bunks, and I'll show you an issue I had with that here in a couple seconds. But I'm going to try to get him as many 2-inch thick boards as I can and as wide as I can. They're not really that big of logs, but we'll see what we can come up with here. And like I said, later on in this video, I'm going to show you what he makes out of these. It is amazing. And right here, you can see that the log's long enough to set on the bunks, but not to dog back to the supports to lock the log fast. So I ended up putting that board in there to try to get the log locked in there tight so that I could cut it. And that seemed to work pretty good for all of them. Some of the logs were long enough, so I didn't have to use it on all of them, but it worked pretty good, I thought. But I try to get the best looking lumber I can get for him. I wish I would have had him here. This is the first time I cut for him, and I know what he does. I know what he makes. I've seen what he made, and it is beautiful, but I've never made anything like it. And I look at a log and look at the grain and know what I like and know what I want to get and what I probably will use it for. But what he makes is something pretty special, and there's more to it than looks, as you'll see later, that he probably considers. And I wish I would have had him here to talk to him a little bit while we were cutting to see if there's something different that he would have liked me to do. But I did what I thought was right, and I went for looks. And like I say, you're going to see with what he makes, looks is very important because they are beautiful, but there are other things to consider other than looks that I'm sure he thinks about when he looks at a piece of lumber and gets it cut down. But we did the best we could here, not knowing exactly what he was after. And later on, we'll show you what he does here, and it is amazing. Now here's another look at cutting the logs from a close-up on the end view. It gives you a little different perspective of the sawmill working. And most of these logs are Chinese chestnut. Craig tells me the story that someone up his way had a bunch of Chinese chestnut trees in his yard, and he sprayed Roundup around them to keep the weeds down. Now, I don't know how many times he did that, but it ended up killing all the trees, and that's how he ended up with these logs, which surprises me. He must have sprayed it quite a bit. I can't imagine Roundup killing these trees, just spraying for weeds, but they did, and Craig ended up with these logs. And there is two, I think, regular American chestnut logs, which I don't know how he ever come up with them. They're a rarity in this area for decades. I can remember our first hunting camp was built out of chestnut logs after the blight went through and killed all the chestnut trees. So there's a couple American in here. I can't tell the difference in grain, I'm sure, or in the wood. I mean, I know he's going to be able to tell the difference. But this is, I think, a Chinese chestnut here. But what I'm trying to do is get it as clean as I can. Now, when I'm cutting lumber, you've seen me cut lumber for myself. I usually will keep an edge on it that's not, that clean. There might be a little live edge still on it. But these I tried to keep as clean as I could get. And here, take a look at the grain on this particular board here. Look how beautiful that is. And I can just picture that in what he makes. Which again, I'm going to show you that video. I promise you, I'll show you the videos of what, not only what he makes, but what he does with what he makes. And it's going to blow your mind. But here's a piece that, it was the biggest piece he brought me, but I didn't get the kind of lumber out of it I would have liked because it was so gnarly. But look at this grain on this piece. Oh my goodness. That is a beautiful piece. And I wanted to try to get him as much of that look as I could. Now, and that's what I'm doing there, trying to figure out how can I get him as much of that as I can, because you can see the edges are. This is to get this into a cant. I'm going to lose a lot of wood, and I didn't want to cut all that grain out. That's actually a limb that came out there that made that beautiful grain, and I wanted to try to get him as much of that look as I can. Now the other side, they tried to rip this, or they did rip this log for some reason with a chainsaw, I guess. So I had to try to flatten that out, and that again took a little bit more wood than what I would have liked, but I had to do it to get a flat surface there. I decided to take one more thin slice off of that edge because there was still a little chainsaw marks in it that I had to get out. But I got them out. Now I'm ready to flip it up. And this is where it was kind of disappointing because the log is so rounded that I had to cut big chunks out of both edges to get a good square piece of lumber for them. And you can see there how hefty a piece of waste wood that is. Now I'll do something with that wood. That's why I'm setting it aside. I'll figure something out. In this section right here, you can see how bad that is to try to square up, but we ended up taking out a pretty good chunk. I tried to take the least amount as I can, but you come back and you still have stuff that you want to cut out of it. So you go a couple swipes and you look her over and decide what to do from there. And that's what I'm doing here. There's still a little chunk on there that I didn't like, so we'll cut that out of there. Now we're getting down to where we can start to cut the 2-inch stuff. And I'm still looking there. There's still a little piece, as you can see right there, but look at that grain. Look at that grain. Beautiful. And what he makes out of these, that's going to be awesome. But there's a chunk there that I didn't want to leave them, but I didn't want to lose. Look at that side grain. I didn't want to lose any more of that than I could, but I had to cut that piece out of there, sadly, to get him as much good lumber as I can. So I got that cut out. Now we'll cut the last boards down into 2 inches, and then I promise you I'll not only show you his videos of what he makes and what he does with them, I'll give you a link in the description of this video to his Facebook page where you can talk to him.
Hey everybody, we got lucky and got a beautiful evening here to do a sound clip. Sun's just going over the hill. I got a real nice black walnut here topped off with a red oak paddle. Now have a listen. There you have her. Pretty walnut with a red oak paddle. Thanks for watching. This is a sycamore Hadouk strip class being run with a new rosewood striker from Junior Teague, custom made strikers.
Stars finally. Day after the youth hunt, boy, they're tough for an hour and a half. Nothing is quiet as a church mouse. The mini boat